Right now at 11, we're looking into the highlights of President Biden's State of the Union address and Republicans' response to the speech. And later, you might remember this scene at a Eugene synagogue. Tonight, a local man is facing federal hate crime charges following the string of vandalisms.
And I'm tracking one more dry day as high pressure is right on top of us, but look off to the west. Our next storm rolls in for Saturday. I'll have a look at your forecast as KEZI 9 News at 11 begins right now.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News at 11.
Tonight, President Joe Biden delivered his State of the Union address. The president highlighting his accomplishments in office and unveiling his plans for the future. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Ariel Yakabazi. Biden taking on reproductive rights, immigration reform, and Israel's war against Hamas. ABC's Perry Russum is on Capitol Hill to break it all down for us.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Biden on his biggest platform, unveiling his plan to take on some of the biggest issues at home and abroad. The president calling for immigration reform as his border security bill stalls in the Republican-controlled House.
This bill would save lives. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
Sitting with the First Lady, Kate Cox. She was denied an abortion in Texas under the state's strict ban.
If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Biden announcing an emergency military mission to build a port in Gaza, delivering food, water, medicine, and shelter.
For the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority.
A senior administration official telling ABC News it will take weeks to plan and execute, and it will be carried out by the U.S. Army. Pentagon sources say all work will be done by U.S. troops offshore, and there will be no U.S. boots on the ground inside Gaza. Without mentioning former President Trump by name, Biden drawing contrast from his expected opponent in November.
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth: you can't love your country only when you win.
Alabama Senator Katie Britt, the youngest Republican woman ever elected to the Senate, delivering the GOP response.
The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did. I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dreams.
The president started his speech talking about the war in Ukraine, telling Congress they have to stand up to Russian President Vladimir Putin, asking lawmakers to pass the bill that would send aid to Ukraine. And the president with a direct message to Vladimir Putin saying, "We will not walk away." Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
In Oregon, Senator Ron Wyden gave a lengthy statement on tonight's State of the Union address. While he referenced the U.S. economy, healthcare, and other things, Wyden says Americans have some decisions to make. Wyden says in part, quote, "Americans face a lot of big choices in November. Those choices involve the freedom of women, the protection of our democracy, and the power of corporations and special interests to trample on the rights and well-being of typical Americans with the help of a corrupt Supreme Court," end quote. And a local woman joined U.S. Representative Val Hoyle at Biden's Union address tonight. Her name is Danielle Hubbert, a member of the Army National Guard and a second-year nursing student at Umpqua Community College. Hubbard joined the National Guard after her father served as an Army medic during Operation Desert Storm. After school, she plans to serve as a combat medic with the Oregon National Guard and as a nurse in her very own community. Now, despite witnessing substance abuse and experiencing homelessness as a child, she is described as a leader with her peers and an example to other young women and girls. In other news, as the fentanyl crisis worsens in the state of Oregon, the risk to young children is going up. A study released by the Oregon Poison Center and OHSU Thursday shows that there were 16 cases of kids under the age of 6 exposed to fentanyl in 2023. Just 3 years ago, there were none. The findings follow warnings from Portland police in late 2023 who say 3 children under the age of 6 died from fentanyl exposure in the city between June and September of last year. And a Hillsborough couple admitted in March of 2023 their 2-year-old ingested their fentanyl tablets and had to be revived with Narcan. Dr. Rob Hendrickson with the Oregon Poison Center says that 80% of the cases they studied occurred at a child's home with fentanyl tablets that were easily accessible.
What is remarkable about these cases is how severe they were. The children are exposed when they're ingesting a tablet. They're exposed to a very large amount of fentanyl, which is not common in a single pill with most other things.
If you suspect your child has ingested fentanyl, or any child for that matter, watch for the signs of exposure, which Hendrickson says include sleepiness, loss of consciousness, shallow or slow breathing, or blue skin or lips. The Mapleton sewer plant is experiencing more troubles tonight. We're told by officials the plant has a leak to the sulfur dioxide gas system, which causes a significant health hazard to the contractor who performs daily tests. Officials say because of the leak and the time frame to get the parts in to repair it, the Mapleton Commercial Area Owners Association has been granted temporary approval from the DEQ to discharge undisinfected treated sewage water into the Sayusala River. The association is working with state leaders to find a different disinfection method, and they'll still be testing the water daily, and they'll send out an update when everything is all repaired. Well, today, EWEB broke ground on an emergency water station in South Eugene that sits just behind the new Eugene YMCA. The 6th of 7 emergency water stations is being constructed on the edge of Amazon Park in the southwest corner of the new YMCA parking lot. While being physically connected to the Y, the proximity of the station is also ideal for when disaster strikes. Both the Y and the station will be anticipated to stay intact and prepared to shelter those in need.
This is very practical if we had an earthquake of that size. So people would be walking and they'd be filling their jugs. And so having this in place, built to those seismic standards, help us feel a little bit more comfortable and confident that we could serve water during an emergency.
Now, in the event of a disaster, EWEB says they will mobilize at all emergency water stations, and residents can just come by the nearest station to their home with a container to fill up and take with them. You can find the nearest station to you on their website at eweb.org. All right, switching gears now, we're going to take a live look over Roseburg, aka Western Oregon's City of Lights. Absolutely gorgeous tonight, and we have a familiar face back in the studio tonight. Our chief meteorologist, Dylan Robichaud, is back from a brief hiatus. Dylan, how did your surgery go?
It was pretty good. Well, you guys probably noticed that I had a problem speaking a few weeks ago. I actually had a partially paralyzed vocal cord, which made it really hard for me to talk on TV. So I went down to Los Angeles, my doctor down there. They gave me an injection of collagen, and it brought my voice back in literally 2 minutes. So
he sounds great.
Yeah, a miracle. Thank you so much for understanding, and of course welcoming Holden LaCroix into your home. I know that he enjoyed his time with you guys as well. Man, it was a beauty of a day out there today. I mean, look at that blue sky. Don't get used to it though, because we are in for some rapid changes as we head over the next few days. Downtown Corvallis, so incredible shot. Love that camera out there today. Also, along the coast, take a look at this. We had some high thin clouds rolling on in just in time for that sunset tonight. But man, was it a beauty here as that sun went down right around 6 p.m. And now as we look offshore, things will be nice and clear. But the thing to look out for along the coast is it gets cold out there tonight. 29 right now in Redmond, but then you head inland where you're looking at 33 Corvallis, but even getting some 30s right now, 37 in Newport. And by tomorrow morning, heavy jackets, a necessity. We still have that frost advisory for parts of Coos County. So any sensitive plants or vegetation, if you haven't brought them inside yet, you want to do so because they could possibly die tonight. Meanwhile, high pressure is in command for about 18 more hours and then look off to the west. This is what I'm tracking here for tomorrow night. Heavy rain, gusty winds as high as 50 along the coast, along with 1 to 2 inches of rainfall and upwards of a foot of snow above 4,000 feet going into Saturday and Sunday. So here we go. Saturday and Sunday is kind of the smoking gun days, if you want to say it. And then we dry up by the end of next week. The timing on that rain is coming up here in a few minutes.
All right, Dylan, great to have you back. Copper wire theft is a growing problem across Lane County. CenturyLink officials say it led to more than $1 million in damage last year and disrupted internet, phone access, and 911 access. CenturyLink customer Julie relies on her landline phone as cell service is spotty where she lives right now. She says just before January's ice storm, someone stole copper wire from a service box and knocked out her phone. 6 weeks later, she still doesn't have power or service for that matter. And a temporary fix only lasted a few days.
He said, "This is temporary." And I said, "What does that mean?" He goes, "They're going to cut it again. It's a big problem in the area."
Now, Lumen officials tell us they're working with government and law enforcement and using visible and invisible measures like security patrols. They say if you see something suspicious, to please report it. And we're told not only do these thefts do damage to crucial communications infrastructures, but the costly repairs take crews away from their everyday work. A Eugene man is now facing federal hate crime charges in connection with 4 instances of anti-Semitic vandalism at a synagogue in Eugene. FBI agents say Adam Braun defaced Temple Beth Israel on East 29th Street with anti-Semitic symbols and phrases between August of last year and January of this year. Now, they say on January 14th, he went to the temple with a hammer to break some glass doors, but stopped when he saw he was being recorded on video surveillance. Now, Eugene police originally arrested him in February, and they say they found Nazi and KKK memorabilia in his home. Braun made his first federal court appearance today and was ordered to be held in custody until his next court hearing. One elderly couple still has $25,000 tonight thanks to a sheriff deputy's quick thinking. At Everyone's Market in Eugene off of River Road this week, Lane County Sheriff's deputies say scammers claimed there was fraudulent activity with the couple's bank account and they needed to deposit their money in Bitcoin. The sheriff's office says it's best to verify what scammers are saying. Check with family or your bank and make sure everything, including the phone number, is legitimate. There are also other ways deputies say scammers get a hold of your cash.
Most of the time, that deputy the name that they give isn't even someone that works at the sheriff's office. Our dispatchers know the names of every deputy that works at the sheriff's office. They can confirm if it's a real phone call or not.
The Lane County Sheriff's Office says they're doing their best to stay on top of these calls, and they do keep a tab on false numbers. For this full story, you can go to our website, KEZI.com.